we had one of the most beautiful products. Like I still love that product. Right? And we went to the market, we hit the Indian market, and we went and sold that product, and nobody took it. Not a single person took it. And then I hit my friends and that, hey, do you want to try it? And they took it, saw 25-30% uplift, and then said, I don't think this makes sense. And for me, the lesson was we were selling into the completely wrong market, and we were not on ground.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Founder Real Talk. I'm your host, Josh Broward, CEO of Wisdom Partners, and we are here to talk about the grind that is the founder journey. I was just talking with our guest today, AJ, and said usually the stories that get told are more of the victory parades, but not the battles. Nobody wants to hear about the battle scars and the dark night of the soul that is often part of the founder journey. But we actually need to hear those stories because it helps us get through those hard times. So today we have AJ Goyal. He is a repeat founder and the CEO of Fibr AI. And Fibr is bringing AI to websites, making them responsive and personalized to each visitor in real time. So AJ, so great to have you on. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me here. And as I was hearing you talk about this, I had a constant smile on my face. I think that's how, as entrepreneurs, we live our life. We always have a constant smile. Whatever is going inside, in the back of every drama that's unfolding, it's just completely ignored. So I do hear you what you are talking about and what we will be talking about today.
Right. All right. Great. Well, I look forward. AJ has told me he has a lot of founder stories. So I'm looking forward to that. But before we go too far down the story path, help us understand the problem you're trying to solve with Fibr.
Awesome. So, Josh, if you think about overall marketing as a whole, right? We have Meta, we have Google, we now have Reddit, LLMs. Everything, when you talk to them, when you interact with them, is super personalized. Your Meta feed will be like your Instagram feed will be very different than mine. Your Twitter feed will be very different than mine. What Google suggests you is different than what it suggests me, right? Fortunately, marketers spend a lot of time here optimizing this funnel. But if you think about where the actual dollar is coming from and where the revenue is happening, it's their website. And that website, whether it's Josh browsing it or AJ browsing it, it's exactly the same, right? Now, let's take it a bit in the future. It's no longer AJ and Josh browsing, it's also these AI agents, these LLMs also browsing this website. And the website is still the same for all of them, right? That's what we are trying to solve. When we talk about it, we say, hey, if your marketing is so evolved, your website needs to be that evolved as well. So why don't you match your marketing with your website for humans, AI agents, and LLMs alike? That's what we are trying to solve.
Can your software discern whether it is a human or an agent or an LLM who's accessing the website?
Yeah, so we can figure out who is visiting, human versus machine versus a bot, a Google bot. That's an easier bit, but we can go deeper into human as well. We can figure out what messaging that human has seen, where they're coming from, are they a male or a female, depending on what targeting has been done, and make sure we customize the experience for them as well, right? So if you are a credit card company, for example, we work with a lot of banks and healthcare companies. If you're a credit card company and you're focusing on a card which gives you air miles or loyalty air points and also gives you grocery points, right? When you target two different personas there, you might have two different messaging. Unfortunately, both of these people will land on the web, which will talk about everything in one go. There is no hierarchy anymore. But your messaging was hierarchical. So we basically take that messaging, we take that who that persona was, it a male or a female, 25 to 35-year-old entrepreneur or a working person, and highlight that particular information for them. And the same we did for whether a Perplexity is visiting or a ChatGPT is visiting. And based on how each one will answer and how they might be responding to things, we can tailor the content for them.
And of all the problems in the world, why are you personally attracted to customizing websites?
Yeah, I think so. To give you a brief of my background, I've been a marketer for almost 10 years now. Marketer entrepreneur almost 10 years, right? So started my career as a marketer, uh, a product marketing guy. Did it for like 4 or 5 years. Did my MBA at Stanford, and then I ended up starting a company in women's health, pure marketing company, but also focusing on an impact that we are creating. And one problem we always had, like, so we have this product for PCOS, one of the conditions in women, which can lead to fertility, infertility, can lead to hormonal imbalance, can lead to weight gain. So we have this big, really good product, and we'll focus on certain parameters for each woman, right, in that product. But as soon as that, like, if I'm talking about hormonal imbalance, if the that ad is clicked and the woman lands on the page, it talks about a generic PCOS product from my end, and we realized like women are dropping off from our funnel, and that's where it started. And I was not a tech guy, right? Like, I've been a marketer, and so my first gut feel was, okay, let's create more pages, let's create more websites for it, so that we can. Soon we realized when we started hitting like 20, 30, 40, 50, hundreds of ads, we can't do that much websites, right? Website is a complex maze, and that's where the idea came in. I thought like, hey, if this is a problem for me, this is a problem for everybody else, and this is also a general problem for consumer experience, right? They are not getting the best experience that they should be. So that's how it started. It's like website is never a passion, it just became one as I lived my journey of entrepreneurship.
We, among our co-founders, we sometimes call that the FFS moment. I'm going to have to edit it for public consumption. For F's sake, like there must be a solution to this problem. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, so true, so true. And I think like I always thought this is such a simple solution, such a simple problem, and I looked into so many products and could not find anything. And that's like, so when I sold the last company, I realized, hey, maybe this is like the space I want to start in, and that's how everything got started. AI helped us a lot more over time. When we started 2023, there was no AI, so we started manual, figuring out ways, automation using ML, etc. And then AI came in, ChatGPT revolution happened, and then Cloud Code agents came in, and so we have become a lot better, lot advanced than what we started with. But it just the natural progression of the product has become a lot more what I wanted, what I envisioned it to be.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of the progress that the company has made, what is a win for you guys in the past year that you're just especially proud of?
Yeah, so I don't know, like, I can be proud of that win till now or not, but like, let me talk to you about this. When we started, we always thought we will go SMB, we'll not reinvent the wheel, we'll make sure we hit the right funnel, grow really fast. And then we met one of the top 10 banks in America, and you're like, oh, we are super excited. And then they gave an approval on pilot, and that happened. And then the second large bank also went ahead with it. And so I think that was one of the win. Like, we realized the whole problem statement gravitated a lot more towards regulated industries like banks, healthcare, telecom, and it worked really, really well for them, that we started getting those traction, even though we are like still sub 30 employees, seed stage company, haven't raised that much. With all the learning that you have in Valley, I think every single person you will ask, they'll say that these guys are making a mistake going after enterprises, right? But so far we have been able to successfully navigate it, and I think that's what I'm really proud of.
Okay, so that's a great example, but I have to ask questions because I'm also one of those people who advises people not to go after enterprise customers early on. But so let me tell you how I tell the story usually. I say you can't start out fishing for whales or you're going to starve.
Yep.
You're most likely to starve because the whales don't care about you and your little boat. Like you are completely irrelevant to them. You are untrustworthy, all of that stuff. You have to start fishing for minnows. And when you catch minnows consistently, then you can catch some trout. And when you catch trout consistently, every now and then you'll catch a tuna and you'll be like, how the hell did that happen? I have no idea. I just caught one. But slowly you'll get better at catching tuna. Then you can catch sharks. Then eventually you can catch whales. But it sounds like you guys hooked a whale and we're just like, okay, let's do it. tell us,
Yeah.
tell us about how you handled that as a company, because people don't think being like catching a whale can be really disruptive. Like it changes your whole operation system.
Yep. No, I agree. Josh, as I was saying, like when we started, we really wanted to be a product first company going like really high pace. And then when you catch a whale, you stop because you have to be service oriented as well. Like I always give example to my team, hey, don't consider us as a product company. Consider us more as a McKinsey or a BCG. You got a whale, but you still have to explain them. They still have to sell inside and then get procurement also aligned. So you really have to make sure you handle every single part of that conversation that's happening inside without you as well, right? Like so that's one change that happened in the company. Like we started from being, oh, we will, our product is open, anybody can sign in and start using it, to our product is completely closed. You need to get a demo from us. Before the demo, I'm gonna do a discovery call, send you a deck so that you can align internal stakeholders for the demo. After the demo, I'm gonna do a very, very, very high big four consulting kind of deck, which shows you what ROI we will provide you in a year. A very different approach to like running a business, right? Like a very hands-on, high-touch approach. And so that's the first fundamental change that happens for us. Now, this change created a complete iteration in our engineering talent, right? So, like, we got like a complete attrition for the engineering talent, and they moved out because it was too slow. It just like the process was so slow that they just didn't feel it. There was no dashboard moving every day. There's no number hitting every day. My investors could not fathom what am I doing. But we consistently were able to get the whale 1, whale 2, whale 3, and then some tuna, and then some like so like we did get some smaller boats, but we started getting like these big whales. To be honest, Josh, like it took us almost a year for us to reach where we say, hey, this is hooked. They are not going anywhere. Yeah, it might take another 6 months for us to do the procurement, but this $5 million is coming to my bank account, right? Like so that's where like we started feeling, okay, this is the motion that's good for us. I think AI helped. Like for my only 2 cents that I have seen personally, that AI has helped this wave to ride faster. This entire whale ecosystem has gone through the internet era, right?
Has what?
Has gone through the internet era, like
Internet era.
the 2010 2000 2010 kind of era, and they have seen they missed the boat there. They got disrupted significantly, and none of them want to make that mistake again in AI. So they're very, very adoptive. Every single of these company has an AI board. Every single of the company have a martech or let's forget a tech AI buyer whose entire responsibility is AI transformation of the company. So they're very open to new. Like some of these companies also have, like some of our so-called whales also have faster processes, right? Like they can onboard somebody for in less than a month, which is crazy, right? Like which is super crazy. So I think things are changing. We are lucky enough to get in with a few, but we'll see like how it translates and how it becomes better over time.
So I want to double click on the time frame. I think I heard you say it took 12 months to really get a contract signed, and then maybe another 6 months before you get paid. So 18 months of an 18-month long sales cycles. How, as a startup, how do you survive that? Most startups can't wait 18 months for a customer.
Yeah. So I think, to be honest, the way we did it is when we started this, because the AI wave or AI entire technology was getting disrupted so frequently, we got a lot busy building and making sure that things are not breaking for us, right? You started seeing some stability now, but if you think about last year, every month something was getting disrupted. You launch a product, it gets completely trashed by some AI LLM tooling out there, right? So I think that helped a little bit because engineers are always busy. They were the ones who question a lot, but they got busy. The second one was like sales folks. I think because we got a couple of these names out there, we can talk a little bit about them and get like the next slightly smaller fishes in, who are faster, who can get done in 4 to 5 months, right? And the
So
third
you,
one, as you touched on, is cost or like getting seeing revenue. The way we worked about it is we charge enough during our pilot that even though we are taking this long, we still get something to eat and like nobody's starving with that. And so that helped us significantly. Again, like I always come back to say, hey, we run as a big four. So if you take like 5 minutes of advice, we're going to charge for it. So that's how we've been able to like survive so far.
I think that I heard you say two things that I think are really important that many founders might overlook. One is just being in conversation with the big fish made it easier to land the medium fish. And then second, you charged a significant amount for your pilot. So many founders would be like, "Oh, big bank wants to work with us. We'll do the pilot for free." Like, but then you starve. So how did you think about pricing your pilot?
I think we have some good investors, Josh, in our last round. Some of them come from one of the few largest banks out there, right? So they knew that how system works internally, and so I have like a first hand view of how much can I charge or what would make the person who is supporting a pilot move away from it, right? So because I had that, I could go in and command some money. But I was always conscious, right? Like as a founder, you rightly said, I was always afraid. Like I have a fear. Should I charge $30,000 for some of the softwares that's like annual contract value, like, or should I charge like $80,000? And we have a bank who's paying us like 95 for 2 months pilot, right? So it's almost like an ACV for like a smaller fish that you will talk about, right? So the whole idea was you gauge the interest, you figure out the number of hours you're going to spend, you figure out how frequently they're meeting. Like if you are on a project plan where you're meeting every week, like you can now ask them for money. If you are meeting every 2 months, like it's not yet there. Again, like it's a lot of this for me is learning by doing it, like figuring it out. I'm not a SaaS guy, right? Like I literally not a SaaS guy. I've never done SaaS ever. I've always bought Shopify, which is like one click buy. Haven't haven't bought any big tooling. So I was just learning. So I was throwing a lot of darts here and there and seeing what sticks. And some of them stuck. And then that became a playbook for us. And then we threw more, and then some more stuck, and then became a second playbook for us. So that's how we have been approaching this.
That's great. Thank you. One thing that we say often is wisdom is failure redeemed. We fall down and learn something and learn how to walk better. Can you tell us about something you learned through failure or a mistake or suffering?
Yeah. So Josh, like a lot of people, like when I talk about fiber, a lot of people don't know that we actually started first in India. So I was back in India. I started first. I had this crazy idea, the same idea, but I wanted to do it for D2C brands, and and I was like, okay, this is like the perfect thing. I would pay for it as a person who was running a startup. Everybody should pay for it, and we had one of the most beautiful products. Like I still love that product, right? And we went to the market. We hit the Indian market, and we went and sold that product, and nobody took it. Not a single person took it. And then I hit my friends and that, hey, do you want to try it? And they took it, saw 25-30% uplift, and then said, I don't think this makes sense. It might be some other reason. So you get those kind of feedback, and you're like, okay, this product is not good at all. Maybe I'm overthinking. And I think 2023, and we started.
Wait, so let's go back. The product worked. People tested it
Yep.
and then they said, no thanks.
Yep. Yep. So they felt that, oh, it might be some external factors. It's not you guys. And so 2023 January we started this product. 2023 November I decided to shut it down. And we had some chats with some D2C folks in US, some brands like large ones, small ones, whoever I could get from my Stanford connection. But we didn't get that traction, and we thought like maybe the pitch is not right or like the product is not good enough. I think February 2024, I came to States and I was like, okay, let me just go back and figure out what we are building next. I met this company, XYZ, a competitor, very, very similar product to ours. And they were doing $5 million within the first 6 months. And then I went, like I was in States for 3 months. I went back. They got to $17 million. And I was like, for me, like the lesson was we were selling into the completely wrong market and we were not on ground. The day I realized that, I packed my bags, came back, and I was like, okay, we are not going to make that mistake. The product works. I need to figure out an ICP for which I want to sell this now. Maybe I won't do that because that market is already getting crowded. And then that's the time when I was living here, going to conferences, hustling there. I figured out this bank martech leader who took a bet on us, and then everything changed from there. But the first learning was crazy, like was so eye opening for us that I realized if you're not present closer to your customer, and this has been taught so many times, but as a founder, till you live it, you don't do it and you don't believe it. And so we like I now believe it very, very strongly. And like you have to be really close to your customer to figure out what they will buy and what they will.
So most founders think building the product, building the technology is the hard part. But it sounds like for you, the hard part was, or the hardest part was finding the right customer. Like you built something that worked, but who has a problem bad enough they're willing to pay for this? How did you find the ICP? What was the process for you?
Yeah, so I think for us, finding the ICP was a very iterative process. So we started D2C brands, as I said, right? And we realized that's not working out. We got, and I started doing a lot of conferences, going out there, meeting people. I was this Indian guy going like sitting on like lunch tables, talking to people, carrying Starbucks coffee containers in the morning so that people can come and have coffee with me rather than having a coffee on the free conference coffee. Like doing those hustly stuff, I get people to talk to me, and I realize few things. One, what I explain to people, the people who are like, oh, we can increase your conversion, make your experience. Everybody whose customer lifetime value is super high was really, really interesting, because every additional dollar or every additional customer coming in becomes very valuable for them, right? And so first thing that we realize is D2C might not make sense because the dollar value is like $2,200, but like a credit card or a loan or an insurance or a telecom makes a lot of sense because the dollar value is like couple of tens of $1,000s, right? That was the first learning for us. That's the first idea of ICP. And so when we define our ICP, we define it very non-traditionally. Our first cut is the LTV for the customer high. That's the first cut of our ICP, not the company size, not number of people, not what they are doing, who they are, where they're present. The first cut is the LTV high. Then we start putting, okay, is the LTV high? How much are they spending on martech, on buying software, buying ads, spending on SEO, everything together. So is it this cut? Is it like at least $1 million a month? So okay, that's qualified, and that's how we figured out ICP. There are a lot of conversations, and I think somehow we tried every aspect. Like I did almost 15 conferences from different roles, different industries, etc., and then was able to like gauge from those conversations. And when you talk to people, when you're not selling, when you're just talking, people talk. But when you're selling, it kind of like breaks that, and then you have to like do it a bit harder. But if I'm not branded at all, if I'm going as an attendee and I'm talking to them as an attendee that I have an idea that I want to build on, I haven't built it yet, but would this make sense for you, and why would this make sense for you? That's how I actually figured out my SEO.
Thanks for sharing. What is the biggest problem you're trying to solve right now?
So, like as you were rightly saying, Josh, so we were able to get few whales. We are not able to figure out the playbook on them now. So you got like one, and then you got the second one, and you got third, fourth. Now we have four, and we don't know how to get the fifth one. So that's the biggest problem for me right now. Okay, I have four. They can refer. So like some of these guys are super nice that they are referring, but we still have only four. So not enough logos for the fifth one to come in unless they got like super excited about it, right? So that's the big problem that we are solving right now. And because this is a big problem, we are going a slight bit down and saying, okay, let's be happy with a tuna, and then go after that. And so, but because we don't have a playbook for that, we have to write that playbook and figure it out. So that's the second big problem. So I think top of the funnel has become a bigger challenge for us than bottom of the funnel. We know if person comes into the funnel, we'll be able to convert it because the product works. The whole idea is distribution, and I keep telling my team that forget the product, we will be able to make it. Let's figure out the problem. If it's even 30-40% closer to what we are doing, we will figure out the remaining 60%. Let's get in and figure it out. So I think I would say top of the funnel is the most critical problem for me to solve this year and next, and whatever has to be done for that, like that's what we are doing right now.
How have you evolved as a leader since you started Fibr?
Yeah, I think I okay. So I'll preface it by saying when you study at Stanford, you become like a very different kind of a leader, right? Like Stanford philosophy is very emotionally oriented, being in sync with your emotions. I think that's how I envision myself as a leader all the time, right? Like, and if you think about if you'll ask anybody about my and me days, my first startup days, that's how I was, right? And then I started this second one in tech, and I tried to be the same leader, which is like very emotional, will talk to you, might cry when giving while talking to you, like an all hands, have emotions, etc. But I think as a leader, that has flipped a lot for me. It could be a lot of reasons. I am not saying it's just Fibr. It could be I have like a lot of responsibilities towards my family. I have pressure from a lot of places. We are going after accounts which are 18-month sales cycle. So I think I have become a lot more cutthroat. Like it's like, oh, if you do this, do this. If you can't, then you're out. Or there's no point you wasting my like my if I am letting go of somebody, I typically would say, hey, this is not working out. I don't want to waste your time because I'm not going to give you any increment. I'm not going to give you any promotion. And I don't want company resources to go for anything that's not adding value. So I would rather have you look for a job. Very, very straightforward, very cutthroat, no emotion versus what I used to do earlier was very different, right? Like, so I think that's the one difference I've seen. Like I've become, what's the right word? Like I've become too straight, losing like doing things in the minimal time and effort without being arrogant and rude, but being very very straightforward. I think that's what has changed in me as a leader, and maybe it has made me better in terms of time management, in terms of being in terms of not wasting people's time, taking care of them. But I know for sure it did make me a little bit aloof from the team. Like people don't come directly to me. Like they will talk to my co-founder or the site lead or maybe like once maybe like a peer of them, and I might hear it from some of those guys, but they don't come and talk to me directly.
How do you think you still need to evolve as a leader?
I think, yeah, I would say, like, for me, I think the most important thing is being able to understand that everybody has their own pace of learning, own pace of doing stuff. And I can't have the same yardstick as I hold for myself, right? I think that's where I am struggling the most. And that's the reason I try to be like very, very straightforward. I try to be very non-emotional in my pitches, not because I feel this should have been done, right? Like it's not a big deal, and might be a big deal for the other person, right? But I don't want to know that, and I think that's where I need to work a little bit more, like to figuring out how do you be a people's leader while also being true to your vision, true to your investor, true to other stakeholders, but how could you be the people's leader as well?
Yeah. It's a hard challenge. We talk about it in terms of invitation or relationship and challenge or expectations. So if you think of it like a 2 by 2 grid, it sounds like in your first company it was high invitation but not so high challenge. So very cozy culture, everybody felt good, but maybe there wasn't enough stretch.
Yeah.
Uh, but most leaders go from the cozy culture and they're like, oh, okay, we got to raise the bar. And they drip down into a stressed culture where it's high challenge, but low relationship, low stress,
Yep.
low invitation. You don't invite people in, there's distance, it's just get the work done. And that works in the short term, but you you start to churn people, and burnout is a big problem in that
Yeah.
one. But then in the top right, if you have high invitation and high challenge, you get a developmental culture where every everybody is growing. They receive your feedback, negative or positive, because they know you care about them, and it helps everybody grow more together. And that's the most sustainable high productivity environment.
Yep. No,
It
I
sounds
think, yeah.
it sounds like your
Sorry.
pathway is very normal, cozy, stressed, and now you're like, I think we need more relationship.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Like it's a beautiful framework, right? Like I have not thought about it that way, but yeah, thanks for validation. At least I'm on the right path. I'm not I'm not doing something crazy that I keep thinking that I am. Yeah.
Yeah, and so for the company, the dip into stress, sometimes we call it the valley of the shadow of death because the people feel like, oh, I'm losing my my culture, that like this was so cozy before, I hate it now. And maybe that might have been part of the process with some of your engineers leaving. It's just normal, right? uh, and so at that point it takes a lot of effort and intentionality to up the relational input and output, I guess. Like you're putting a lot into the relationships, and also it's creating output that lifts the team.
Makes sense.
Uh, all right. Last question. How are you investing in yourself and your own leadership?
Um, I think to be honest, Josh, right now, it's been super tough, right? So, I keep thinking that I have to get this company to a place where it becomes kind of self-sustainable. I know it's very far, but kind of like somewhere there, right? Like then I have like I just had a kid like 6 month old. I would take care of him. Like we came. I knew the challenges living in the states. Like you, when you come from India, you are accustomed to certain help all the time. When you come here, like you have to handle it. And for my spouse, for my wife, it's a big change, right? So I have to manage those feelings as well. So I think a lot of this has been going on. So on my leader style, I haven't worked at all, and I keep thinking about this, like the 2 by 2 metrics that you talked about. I get to know that I am at the second level. I keep thinking about the third level, but don't have. I think I don't have time to do that. Maybe I have time, but I have not invested time to do that, right? Because I have not been intentional around it. But hopefully, like, I am hoping like another couple of months, this ship will be a little bit stable that I could start working on this. Some of these things, like I remember my MBA days. Some of these things were critical. The whole second year of my MBA was about leadership. How do you build a culture? How do you build yourself? Resilience, power, all the core topics that I used to work on. When you are in real world, you forget the book and the academic academic work. Though you need to work with both of them together. But yeah, so far I have not been working on anything right now. But hopefully soon.
Well, as I'm hearing you talk, I'm thinking about another metaphor we have, leading a fast. I think it's from Claire Hughes Johnson, who She was the COO of Stripe during their big upswing. And she said leading a fast growing startup is like riding a dragon. It's a hell of a ride, but you try not to fall off or get eaten.
Yep. Yep.
So, I think we all do the best we can on the dragon.
Makes
So,
sense.
all right, AJ, so grateful for your time and your openness to share with us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Josh, for having me here.